Hi, my name is Balderas, and today I'm here to talk to you about how we can improve our education system. But before we begin, I want you to imagine this. Imagine a world without teachers. Or, more probable, imagine a world filled with the worst teacher you've ever had in every single classroom. It's a pretty scary thought, isn't it? I think it's best that we keep that as just an imagination, but keep in mind how truly important teachers are. To be transparent, I'm the son of a teacher. However, that in no way affects my presentation of these facts, and it actually gives me more insight into what goes into being a good and effective teacher. So, increasing teachers' wages. There are many reasons for why teachers should be paid more for the work that they do. However, we will be focusing on just 3 things because of the short time frame that we currently have. The first thing we'll be looking at is teachers' pay in comparison to other professions. The next thing we'll be looking at is the benefits that would result as a result of raising teachers' wages. And lastly, some common misconceptions that people normally have around teachers. So the wage gap. Teachers are paid less in comparison to some of their comparable professions and should be compensated more. So the teachers are paid less. According to the Education Policy Institute, teachers' pay is less than that of comparable workers. And what we mean by comparable workers is those of a similar degree in a similar profession. If we look at this graph from Education Week, we see that college graduates are at the top and teachers are at the bottom. And teachers on average made about $300 less or more on occasion than those other college graduates. And that's not okay. So the teaching penalty. The teaching penalty simply means the pay cut that teachers get for simply being a teacher, or just the reduced wage that they already have. According to the National Education Association, teachers earn 19% less than similarly skilled workers as of 2017. This used to be just 2% back in 1994, but because of inflation, it hasn't really adapted to the prices. So in order to continue with that a little bit, we see that inflation is that $1 a day can buy more than $1 can 2, 3, 4, or 5 years from now. But teachers' wages typically adapt to that, and other companies have. But teachers' wages haven't adapted fast enough to the increasing inflation. Now, with that being said, we're going to look at the less encouragement that teachers have for better education. And according to the Brown Center of Education Policy, teachers overall have been receiving a higher level of education, whether that be their master's degree, their bachelor's degree, or even on special occasions, a doctoral degree. And typically, when you go in for a job, if you have higher qualifications and a longer resume, you can often get a better pay. But that's not really the case for teachers. So if these discrepancies alone aren't enough for you to begin thinking that teachers deserve to be paid more, I will begin to fill you in on all the positive repercussions that can result as a result of increasing teachers' wages. So increase teachers' wages. I think we can all agree that teachers play an important role in our society. But not all are the best, and not all communities have access to the same kinds of teachers. But by raising their wage, that can easily change. So who wants to teach? If I were to ask you in the audience right now if you want to become a teacher, how many of you would raise your hand? Not a lot, and that's okay, because according to a Time poll, many wouldn't either. And this is because in order to become anything in any profession, you need 2 main things. You need passion and assurance of future financial stability. And even if you're passionate about becoming a teacher, the fact that you're not sure about your future financial stability may be enough to deter you from teaching. But if we increase wages, we'll increase the pipeline. And by the pipeline, we simply mean by the qualified college graduates that go into college and to want to become a teacher because the pay is sufficient enough for them to create their future lives. So reducing employee turnover. Employee turnover is the number or percentage of people that leave an organization, a company, or in this case, a school. So if we look at teachers, for example, we see that many teachers often leave campuses or go to a different district in search of more pay. Now, with that being said, some teachers on slight occasions often leave teaching in general to go find a different profession that pays them better. But if we were to raise their wages, we will be able to keep more teachers at the same campus, in the same community, and more importantly, working with their same grade group, where they can tailor their activities and their lessons to the students that they're working with to provide a better education for students and our future kids. So making ends meet. So according to the Center for American Progress, nearly 18% of teachers work a second job. And this just takes away from the time they could be making lessons or working on better activities. If you look at this graph, we can also see that on some occasions or in some states, that percentage even reaches 25%. But to put that into perspective, teachers are 30% more likely than similar professions to take on a second job. And that simply doesn't make sense, especially considering the importance of the work that they do. So lastly, I would like to clear up a few common misconceptions that people have pertaining towards teaching and their current compensation. So some common misconceptions. I understand that many of you may be concerned about the repercussions that may result as a result of raising teachers' wages, and may be thinking that they are already compensated adequately enough because they have summers off and because their job doesn't seem too hard. However, this is not the case. So they have summers off. Summers off is never just summers off. It's oftentimes working summer school, formulating new curriculum, or even taking courses to make sure that they are qualified to teach in their subject, which teachers often have to do. It's just 8 to 4. It's never just 8 to 4 though. According to the Washington Post, teachers work on average 53 hours per day. That narrows, or per week, which narrows down to around 10.5 hours per day, which is 2.5 hours more than people think that teachers work. They spend their time doing activities, grading, tutoring, or anything else that has to be done to ensure a better education for their students. The last one we look at is teaching is easy, until it's not. People think that teachers can just repeat their lesson plans, but they have to tailor it to the specific students that they have in order to ensure that no child is left behind. And teaching requires adaptation and adaptability and flexibility, especially right now with coronavirus when we're looking at having to switch to an online format, and some people don't even have access to proper technology. Teachers have to call them and just make things work and be very flexible to help educate our students. So to sum up the opposition, although I can understand that many of you may have believed that teachers worked less or they benefited greatly from the shorter calendar year that they have, hopefully now you can see that that is not exactly at face value and there's more to it. To sum up today's presentation, teachers deserve to be compensated more for the work that they do. And I've clearly outlined some of the discrepancies in their pay, some great benefits that will result as a result of raising their pay, and clear up some misconceptions. So I want to leave you with this. If you knew that raising teachers' wages would be beneficial for your child's future education, what's keeping you from advocating for it? Thank you.